One of the greatest things about streaming services these days is that many obscure foreign films are now readily available in a variety of mediums. One such film is Errementari, The Blacksmith. Errementari is a 2017 horror film made for Netflix. One really interesting aspect of this film is the setting, which is 1840s Spain, and another is the language, which is Basque. Basque, or Euskara, is one of the most ancient languages in Europe, and unlike nearly every other language on the continent, is not even Indo-European, and in fact, no language has ever been definitively linked to it, making it true language isolate. The film is set in the Basque country several years after the first of the three Carlist Wars, which were a series of civil wars that tore apart the Iberian Peninsula during the mid-1800s. As such, it sort of reminded me of another Spanish horror film, the much better known Guillermo del Toro film Pan's Labyrinth, that used the later Spanish Civil War as its backdrop. Essentially, Errementari is a retelling of the ancient fairy tale of the devil and the blacksmith that has been recited in numerous collections, including the Brothers Grimm. The titular blacksmith owns a small rundown smithy on the edge of town and is feared by most of the other residents. A little girl named Ushue, who is frequently bullied after her mother commits suicide, ends up wandering into the smithy and discovers a young boy locked in a cage. She goes to help the boy, but soon discovers that he is much more than he appears to be. I really like the dark visuals and overall atmosphere, and it really feels like a fairy tale come to life. It does have some humor sprinkled in throughout, but it never distracts from the overall tone of the film, and the effects work for the demons is pretty good. The main demon, Sartael, is especially well done and is strongly reminiscent of demonic depictions from medieval and Renaissance artwork. I was actually impressed and surprised with how much effects work was actually in this film. I'm not sure what the budget was, but it actually features a relatively elaborate depiction of hell, or rather the entrance to hell, where dozens of souls are being prodded by demons into its fiery gates, sort of like an evil version of King Yemma's palace in Dragon Ball. While we don't actually see hell itself at any point, we do get a pretty good look at a number of other demons that all feature very unique designs, which also seem to be inspired directly by old artwork. It's not the greatest horror fantasy film ever made, but it's certainly not a bad one either. I've seen a number of Spanish horror films in the past, and many are very well done. This is my first Basque one, but I would also put it in the same level of craftsmanship and would be very interested in seeing more from these filmmakers in the future. So if you have an interest in European folktales, horror, fantasy, or even gratuitous bear traps, I definitely recommend checking out Errementari on Netflix.